Hey there, I'm Kate and this is MONOCAT. This video is part of a mini-series. We're gonna talk about what to keep in mind and how to prepare for riding in the winter season, especially if you live in a colder climate. In the first part, we're gonna talk about how you can prepare yourself with the right clothing and gear to not only stay warm, but also safe. So, let's get this started. For riding in winter, the first thing you have to consider before stepping out of the door is what gear you're gonna wear. This depends obviously on where you live, as the winter climate can be quite different around the world, from slightly milder temperatures to full-on snow blizzards. My experience with riding in the winter comes from mostly Warsaw, Poland and Vancouver, BC. So that will be the type of weather I'll be referencing for this video. For deciding on what type of clothing to wear, keep in mind that riding on a EUC will feel much colder than just walking outside, as you are just standing still with wind blowing right at you. So, a good rule of thumb is to wear clothing for 5 to 10 degrees less than it actually is outside. Also, humidity and wind is a big factor of how cold it will feel while riding outside. You can stay warm in multiple different ways. Either by putting on simply more layers of clothing or using battery-heated clothes. For battery-heated clothes, there are options for almost all types of clothing out there, from heated vests, jackets, gloves or shoe inserts. If you get something battery-powered, make sure to remember to charge them before the ride. When putting on multiple layers, keep in mind to have tight-fitting clothing, as baggy clothes can more easily lose heat with wind blowing at it. For that, it's good to have a light and quickly drying base layer. Here, the best materials are either wool or more affordable synthetic polypro. It's best to avoid cotton as a material, as it doesn't provide great insulation and will make you feel cold if it gets wet. The most typical pieces of clothing for a base layer are pants and shirts, but there's more to it. You want to cover as much skin as possible, so socks, thin gloves and balaclavas is a good add-on to that. Balaclavas are especially great for EUC riding, as they're not too thick and can fit easily under any helmet. They are designed to expose only parts of your face, but keep in mind, if they also cover your nose and you wear glasses, then the glasses can fog up more quickly. You can also use a neck warmer as a makeshift balaclava as well. For the mid layer, you want to have something that will trap the warm air inside. This can be clothing with down filling or synthetic insulation, but also clothing made out of fleece or flannel is a great choice. If you have nothing like that, just normal pants and t-shirts will do the trick as well. When it comes to winter sport, most people tend to skip the mid layer for pants, since they are actively moving around. But if you're riding EUC, you will not move that much, so it's a good idea to look in a mid layer for your legs as well. All of your clothing for the base and mid layer should not be too bulky, as they need to fit under your jacket and gear as well. I tend to wear multiple layers in order to keep warm, with winter boots and gloves. Also, my motorcycle jacket has multiple layers that can be added, so I can adjust it for colder temperatures and rain. When picking a helmet for the winter, make sure it has less air vents or that you can close them. Also, helmets with visors are the most practical, as you can protect your face from the cold wind as well as rain and snow. A downside with having a closed visor is the possibility for it to fog up and take your sight. There are multiple different ways of how to prevent your visor from fogging up. An open front air vent will already help with that, as the cold wind will get inside the front of the helmet and cool the visor down. Additionally, most motorcycle helmets have the option to install a pin lock, which is an anti-fog insert lens that you can stick on the inside of your visor. They are a little bit tricky to install, as air bubbles can occur, which then might fog up. So if you don't feel confident doing it yourself, you can go to a local motorcycle gear store and ask them to help you to install it. I currently ride with the TSG Pass Pro helmet, which doesn't have the option to install a pin lock, but therefore has already an anti-fog coating on its visor. Sadly, that doesn't stop my glasses from fogging up if I have to stop at a stop sign, intersection or yield to pedestrians. If I have to stop for a longer time, I usually open my visor up. If it's for a short stop, I just try to breathe downwards or simply hold my breath. Even if you bundle up with multiple layers, don't forget to also put your safety gear and pads on. It can sometimes be difficult to get safety gear on top of all the different layers, which is why I try to buy most of my gear, like my motorcycle jacket, knee and wrist guards, on the bigger side or make sure that they can be adjusted. Because of that, I still have the option to fit all the layers or different types of gloves under the gear. On top of making sure that you are warm and safe with your gear, also keep in mind that in the winter season it gets darker earlier, as well as rain and snow can impact visibility. This is why you should make sure to have enough lights and reflectors on you to remain visible to other road users. Also here you have multiple different ways on how to be visible. The most easy solution is to get reflectors that you can add on top of your gear, like reflective bands for arms and ankles, as well as reflective or light up vests. It's also possible to get even pants or jackets that are partially or completely reflective, so it's less likely that you will forget to put on your reflectors. This is why the lazy rolling jackets are quite popular with PEV riders, as they're not only provided armored pads, but also reflective materials. Motorcycle jackets also have reflectors, but those are usually only smaller patches. I often ride with reflective pants, which are also decently water resistant and work as a windbreaker as well. If you don't want to buy new pants or jackets, but still would like to have some reflectors on it, you can also get reflective material with double-sided tape and attach it to your clothes or backpack that you already have. Additionally, adding permanent reflectors to your EUC is another great way to stay visible and make it less likely to forget to put them on. I don't have any reflective stickers on my EUC directly right now, but I luckily have some on my Grizzler side pads, which come already pre-installed on it. If you want to know more why Grizzler pads are overall my current favorite jump pads, check out my last video, where I tell you why. Having already reflectors on the side pads is great, as in BC it is required for bicycles to have at least one white front and one red back reflector, or at least a light, on your bike, so adding it on your EUC is a great way to keep up with the regulations and show that you care about safety. Next to reflectors, adding additional lights is a great way to not only increase your visibility, but also to be able to see hazards like black ice or slippery patches of snow earlier. There's a variety of different lights out there that you can either attach to your helmet, gear or EUC. Currently, I use an all-light light for my helmet, which I can easily clip into the common GoPro mount on my helmet. In addition to that, I also have a couple of shred lights that come with multiple different mounts, so you can either attach them to rails or to any flat surface on your EUC. Even though black is the most common color to pick for gear, as it's a neutral choice, when purchasing your gear and clothing for riding EUC, it's a great idea to pick bright and high visible colors. Most motorcycle gear has options for those, so it's good to keep that in mind for your next purchase. Something important to keep in mind: don't focus to have all your reflectors and lights only in one direction, but make sure to be visible from all angles. Bright colored gear can definitely help with that, as well as reflective clothing. With that being said, putting all those extra layers of clothing and gear on might be a bit more time consuming, but definitely worth it. Wait, what? It's already dark outside? Anyway, in the next video we're gonna talk about how to prepare your EUC and keep it in good condition in those cold temperatures. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you feel very fancy, you might subscribe. See you next time.